China's Huawei and ZTE officially designated national security threats by the FCC. I can't say I'm surprised. We've had just all kinds of negative news relating to this relationship. It's been ongoing. This is kind of simply a progression of that effect. You now have this label placed on these companies, making it increasingly difficult for any U.S. businesses to have ongoing relationships with these brands, Huawei and ZTE. U.S. carriers cannot use an $8.3 billion government subsidy program known as the Universal Service Fund to purchase, maintain, or support any equipment or services from both of these vendors. So it's going to make it very, very difficult for any carrier to seriously consider using technologies from either of these companies going forward because they can't access this massive government subsidy, which is going to make their purchases effectively cheaper if they're willing to go with other brands. And these companies would have to chop their prices so to make it. You understand where I'm going here? It's just it becomes impossible for them to do business. And this designation, on another level, would just raise enough concern for anyone thinking of having ongoing business relationship with either of these companies, because the assumption would be that there would be this continued prohibitive behavior that could shut you down in the future or cause massive problems for you. Why would you invest in hardware from these companies at this moment? Critics of Huawei and ZTE have claimed that their networking equipment could be used for China, by China for espionage. We've heard all of this before. With today's orders and based on the overwhelming weight of evidence, the FCC's Public Safety and Homeland Security Bureau has designated Huawei and ZTE a national security risk to America's communications networks and to our 5G future. That was said by the chairman of the FCC. That guy, you remember him, made famous on the net neutrality stuff, Ajit Pai. You remember he was a huge meme for a moment. Well, he's still there. He's still doing what he's doing, and Huawei and ZTE are currently his target by the looks of it. So, yeah, it's just a continued progression towards what seems like a foregone conclusion at this point. Well, I don't see it flipping back around. It would be hard to imagine a handshake and a hug taking place, and all of a sudden Huawei popping up in the U.S. in a big way and elsewhere. It's going to continue to be this strange uphill battle, this bizarre relationship or lack thereof. And Huawei's going to have to keep, and ZTE for that matter, keep turning their head and their focus towards markets where they can penetrate, where they can exist, because it seems to be that the marketplace for those brands continues to shrink.
Yeah, especially when you're talking about infrastructure of 5G networks. Like, you have to build the foundation and then...
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and of course, yesterday we talked about the TikTok stuff with India. So you have to presume now you can add India to the list that's feeling this way about potentially partners like Huawei and ZTE. Germany was on the fence. You have the UK in the mix, Australia. All your markets are seeing this type of move, and they're reacting.
They're just following suit.
They're reacting to it as well, and you can't blame them, right? You can't blame them. So you can blame them depending what side of it you're on. You can't blame them, but you can understand where it's a huge, huge investment. And if there is any minute amount of fear that it could be a bad investment for a number of reasons, they're going to address it. They're going to consider it. It's understandable. Regardless of which side of it you land on.
Right.
Regardless.